Ooh, this is a tough choice, but I can't go like this. I'll give up.
Yo, what up, YouTube? What up, what up, what up? It's ain't no one. And y'all back, man. The resistance all day, man, on that Luke Skywalker shit. Alright? But really, if this was a situation of Star Wars, I would be closer to Vader. I'll be on Vader's side of the game. And the reason why I say that is because Darth Vader was about order, man. And the fact of the matter is, before you could have any type of chaos, which would constitute man's free will and the ability to make bad decisions versus going with his better judgment, before you could have chaos, you must first have order, or you won't have the luxury to enjoy, okay, if you want to call these the recreational leisure of free will of these other situations. So we have a scenario where there's a complex. You see what I'm saying? Because our world, okay, our world is in limbo and we have more problems than we could resolve. There's many reasons why they activated CERN. And you know, originally the internet seemed to be Billy Gates, just like Billy Gates' idea. All right. And which it seemed like before, when I was growing up in the 80s and what have you, it was Bill Gates that he kicked off the internet. You know, that was his whole thing. And that's not how we have it nowadays. You know, how we have it nowadays is that the internet, okay, now, you know, since the Mandela effect, so on and so forth, is constituted that it shows, okay, it basically shows that CERN, okay, which is the beast, all right, created the internet. And we know that it didn't, except if it did. And the reason why I want to show you this is the overlapping of characteristics, how an individual can have a different spirit than the spirit that they were born with. Okay? And what I'm pointing to you here is the fact that if the beast now created the internet, and I know that it was formerly Bill Gates, okay, then this would be the Antichrist spirit, which has the right to rewrite history, okay, and change times and laws and so on and so forth. So you're talking about people that are scattered abroad and put in disarray in potentially different realms and situations, you know, whether it be a situation of the mind or whatever. But whatever this technology is, it is otherworldly. You know, CERN, the beast, you know, it is not of this world. And this technology this was not something that was invented. This was something that they maybe got the blueprints of or figured out how to put together, okay, through reverse engineering. And these had to be extraterrestrials or individuals from different times and places. So basically, we're talking about the Tower of Babel, and we have something called the internet, which transcends time. And the internet, as Facebook would say, what's on your mind? Okay, when what wants you to share what's on your mind is a data log of individuals' most intimate properties, and this is what really would consider or constitute making someone naked. That's why I said when people talk about nakedness pertaining to some type of perversity in body parts, that's really one of the most schizophrenic things ever. And the reason why I say this is because the human body, I mean, shit, we're born with that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's been to a locker room, so on and so forth. Nobody should be as estranged from the human body for us to know to not know what it means, not know what things are, except for the knowledge of men, the chaos, to go about things not according to the way that they're supposed to be, that now we are tempted by certain properties of the body. And this is a property of our knowledge, which is lower than the ways of God. That's the point that God wants us to acknowledge, is for us to own our bullshit, which we won't. Instead, we'd rather think of ourselves as being gods. And when we get into thinking of ourselves as gods, then God very wisely in Genesis put that then you will be gods of your own way. That means whatever type of wandering, lost self-desire that you have for yourself as a man, you're going to continue to go down that trajectory. And the self is a bottomless pit. The only way to get out of that bottomless pit for real is to give yourself back to God. And first and foremost, before you have anything, if you don't have anything in the Bible, you must have charity with an open heart. This is written in scripture. Okay, potentially it may have been, I think, in the book of Galatians. And the world has gone cold. It's about resources and revenue and humans, as we are known as humans resources, the corporate citizen. The only time that we get any exposure or any light or even the opportunity to communicate anymore is if the human being, the corporate citizen, is either an automaton drone that's being controlled by the technocratic system that existed before the lay of the earth, which they probably learned about in masonry, that I thought was just basic common knowledge, that we were in a technology cube inside of a pyramid. This is what Christ calls spiritual Egypt. But because this is constituted as secret knowledge, here we come into the situation where I don't have any secret knowledge. I talk about it on YouTube, like, why is the world so weird? And it's getting labeled as medical misinformation. So you see the converging points between knowledge, not pertaining to knowledge that you would get out of your education that can get you an actual fucking job, because K through 12 and college doesn't get you a job. It's the secret knowledge and the secrets you keep pertain to sucking and fuck it as a corporate citizen that worked yourself up from the underground, being a fucking slut. 1000%. And this agenda is pretty much, you think that, you know, you're going to get to a point where one day it's going to stop, but it doesn't. It just gets worse. And there are people who sold into this situation and live out of the spirit of fear for the fact that things don't get worse, rather than standing on their 10 toes and making things better, speaking out, trying to help others, so on and so forth. So this individual is a flower, as in the petals are drawing towards the center. They are closing. And this system is not for man. So what good is a computer? Okay. What good is a computer if that computer is not a servant? If you talk about a system that is not a servant, if you talk about it pertains to the human body, I guess you would have some type of immunodeficiency disorder, right? Which is written in scripture: keep free from the sins of Egypt. All right. And and basically God is telling you, I think it's in Deuteronomy, I have to stay free from the sins of Egypt, or the ways of Egypt, which is the ways of this world. You know, we got the pyramid on the back of the dollar, talk about the mystery schools and secret schools, and you will have none of their diseases. What does that tell you? It tells you for a fact that the world is sick with diseases. The white man knew it when he took the Jews as a slave. He tried to draw up the melanin out of the slave's back. Considering fast twitch muscles, nobody has more, pretty much quicker reflexes than a fucking reptile, except for that fucking mongoose, maybe a squirrel, which I'm starting to think, I think squirrels are fucking damn near fucking, I think they could teleport short distances, dude. They move so fucking fast, it's unreal. I try to look up and see how fast can a squirrel run, and I couldn't find out that information, man. Because sometimes you'll see a squirrel and then they'll literally just disappear from being on the ground and just be up in a tree somewhere, upside down and shit, looking at the ground. Like, but the fact of the matter is, when it comes to these fast twitch muscles, things of this nature, these have correlations and connotations to Draco reptilians or Nagas, which acknowledges that all of their gods are black, and the word nigger means king or god. And the word Kunta Kinte from the film Roots means you were king. That's what his name means, Kunta Kinte. That's why they want to strip the black man of his name. And now the black man's name has been stripped, and he don't know that he's a Jew. But black people have all these interesting names that they name their kid. All these Shariahs and Jariahs and things of this nature. And we're thinking we just came up through slavery. And then they use the boule to reinforce this consequence that black people were just slaves. We came from slavery. Niggas forget about the Moors and forget that the ancient dynasties were all black and the gods. White people start worshiping black people. That's why you have obelisks, which is in honor of the black man's dick. And that's why, you know, these females crave chocolate during their period. If you want to go into mythos and all that other shit, right? The white man was bewildered by the black man. In certain type of way, his interests superseded the females of his species. And all of this was out of some type of dominance. So there was without natural affection. And these females, they either grow up to be wildlings, and it's used as little squeaky toys, or out of fear, they live and go along with the program and be a good old girl. They end up growing up and becoming old and repressed and hating the men, so they become lesbians. So as they get turned out, you know, and as the white man gets turned out in constant competition against the black man for some odd reason of his own personal insecurities, then you have two sides that have turned out that start having different spirits other than the spirit that they know that black people have, and they have the power of the money. So this is where the mysticism comes into play, because Smith is a Canaanite name, and Canaanites are from Africa. There's the progeny of Ham, and these would be white people that is in England. Oh, that upside down kingdom shit. Then you have Germans that fucking Jewish people, and you have all this fucking bullshit. And I am the real Jew. And I'm getting treated in God's country by the corporation of Google in an anti-Semitic way, which shows that the system supersedes the individuals that it controls. And these individuals that are amongst you in society are fucking locusts. They have teeth, ugly face, and they walk around like fucking zombie automatons and shit. Their conversations are so fucking fruitless. You know what I'm saying? And they're scared to talk about anything real. And if anything they remember a lie that they coincide with the collective with, which bleaches their entire character, person, and being, and they get overridden by their spirit. And the spirit is Lucifer. And the individual becomes so narcissistic, no different than a computer system. A computer system would serve itself, wouldn't it? The Most High served others. And the difference is, if you love others as you love yourself, then a lot of niggas is behind. I'm definitely not. I treat others better than I treat myself. So my spirit is different than those around me who judge me for being a loser. And I don't try to correct them, because I know if they're superhuman, then the only thing that's wrong with them is the super part, because the mind is a labyrinth and they don't have a core essence. Therefore, they're just a system of fucking functions and a rogue spirit inside of that. The only thing wrong with being superhuman is the super part, knowing that niggas are looking at their physical abilities predominantly, not knowing that they're just super fucking stupid and ignorant and vulnerable above all things. To be superhuman is a double negative in exactality. People in the neighborhood come out when I walk at night. The day star carries the high energy. These individuals are automatons if you've seen transhumanism. They're controlled by the electrons. Their base functions still work. They have a special behavior. Every favor that they work for in society is to suck and fuck. They have no literacy to them. Their hearing is supernatural. The chemtrails that the government covered up, that leaks into when you breathe in this atmosphere, and then we got COVID, and we had adverse effects with individuals that we blamed under the guise of a disease. The mysterious case of Morgellons that never got solved. Nobody knows what it is or where it came from. And all these mystery disorders that came in the commercials with the advancements of sexually transmitted diseases. These are the children of disobedience. These are all of Satan's children. All of these are adversaries, goats that wear masks as if they're sheep, thinking that it's better to be a wolf. These are on the outer court and fight for everything. But then they want to front like they're about peace. But the only peace that they're about is a narcissistic vision in which other individuals are oppressed. And so therefore it's supremacy and pride. That which they are blind over. The secret is that they won't acknowledge it. The things people do just to put food on the table, I won't accept. Incompetence is devouring them all, and I thought they had knowledge, and society looks like this, doesn't it? I'm walking here in a park at night. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Some of the neighbors started to come out. Generally, this is the time that I do pull-ups. How many of these individuals were in the military with this young lady walking around that's 25 with a black dog at nighttime? A lot of these individuals are pedophiles, and because I'm walking around on an elementary schoolyard, because I'm walking around in an elementary schoolyard in these suburbs, it's pedophile riddle. These individuals come out, they're creatures. Individuals get picked up as apprentices. All of these things linked to black magic. YouTube is afraid of me and has banned me several times, and I got several channels. I have many eyes around the world. Individuals appear here out of portals, and we think this is reality? No. This is something that is systematic. This is a regulated dream that's collective amongst others, and we are all asleep. We must have died sometime. And this dream, because it's a lie, even though it's reality, every man lies, let God be true and every man a liar. Because man does not know that he's truly living a dream, and these dreams are reality, nor the power of his words either. So therefore Christ had to come to bring the truth within a dream, in which if one comes to the truth, then the realization eventually that this truth is also a lie, except that it exists for those it exists within the hearts of men. Therefore, it appears as a false positive, and it is not. And this reality is fluid and suggested. And things get changed in your reality based on spiritual warfare. And I happen to know before I left that Hyperia was infiltrated, at least by one traitor, potentially two, for sure. Each time I come back here, there is war that happens in order to get me outside of this spiritual pyramid. Every time this pyramid is obsessed, it tries to take me in. Carrying this much energy, I had the energy of kids. One time, I was crucified in order to save many of them. Many don't remember. These were former lifetimes. I've been in the Messiah dynamic many times, but I could tell you that Jesus Christ, is my elder. And if you recognize Jesus, then you recognize the flesh, because this system is a switch hitter. It knows that Christ is real. Think of all the monoliths that people put on the edge of their desks. The terms and agreements of compliance is no different than a contract. You just got to have that app on your phone. You just got to communicate. You just got to post up a video on one of them, what do you call it, Vines or what's that, TikTok? And you don't even read the terms of agreements. You sign so many record deals without even looking at the script. And these things affect your reality. And because you got to hit a button, it counts. And this system cheats as well. And like I said in the movie Transhumanism, and Lucifer had the ability to give life into the image. And I think of my little brother Tupac, that was presented on stage as a hologram. And you talk about auras, and auras are no different than white noise in which you see the ring and ghosts come out of that Dead Sea. And these aberrations, one would call chakras. These are not things that are necessarily akin to the living. You could see the Eastern mysticism and the secret schools were about the dead. When Christ came and put on the flesh, then he took on creating the light and the darkness at the same time by being accused of all things for the matter of man's sake. So therefore, even the king in the kingdom of darkness could not stand, taking into his bosom all things that he wasn't. And constantly I am pitted before this predicament because I'm a first fruit. People had a lot of judgments of what I went through before I turned, 28? And then that wave that started a long time ago, like when I was 13, caught up with them. And they couldn't stand the weight of it. And now they drown. That's the flood. But people are worried about this phenomenon, the supernatural that happens around me. And when you go outside and you see these automatons that check on you, just know that you're in a collective dream. And that collective dream, these are agents. And these agents are Smiths. And the agent Smiths come around you in this matrix of a matriarchy. They try to generate anxiety and concerns. There is an invisible curfew that if you go outside in the suburbs past 11 o'clock, then the neighbors get nervous and they start to come out and they start to follow you, keep an eye on you. And they all got dogs because they need those dogs to see and pick up your scent, to speculate whether you have drugs, and they all get them from adoption centers. I bet you all of these dogs is trained. Little police dogs that people pick up. And they always come around at certain times and they have no particular cycle or pattern. Even if you wake up at a certain time and you're always out, they gotta be out at the same time as you. Even if you change up your schedule right on cue, the very first time you leave at a different time, you see the same motherfuckers. Isn't it interesting? It's like they just sit around waiting. They don't. They don't do anything with any particular interest. Niggas in the suburbs just stay in their house. It's the weirdest shit. These places are entirely quiet, manufactured, fabricated as the personalities that exist inside of them. Neighbors are only cool to a certain extent because shit's so weird out here. Far more weird than it is in the inner city, in the projects. And niggas out there think it's dangerous. Things out here don't get reported. And when we talk about this light body is like a spirit that has life to give unto the image. But we know that this ain't life. If the Bible was talking about it in such light, and God gives life to the individual, that this life is different, and we're talking about the image of the individual. We're talking about the flesh. And the flesh is opposed to the spirit because the nature of man in a fall. And Christ had to put on flesh, and that flesh is still a part of the beast. This is why Christ said, why do you call me good? So Christ, just the same as man in the archetype, is a beast because he had to put on flesh. But that doesn't make him Lucifer. And the message is you are not your flesh. And the thing is, you'll be oppressed with things that you can't handle. It's going to take some time to overcome. But you got to have patience and let God do his thing. I know that you could do nothing on your own. You have to know yourself and work on thyself so you don't change with the times. And when you don't change with the times, you don't get with the program. And when you don't get with the program, then it becomes a problem. When you have concerns in a voice that you speak out, think about it. I posted up Westworld Inc. and they got taken down for medical misinformation. And it wasn't about medical shit at all. That means we don't have freedom of speech. And I don't have a right to opinion, and neither do you. And you know that. That's why you stay with that gag in. You more afraid of death than your shame. Even though you living, but you can't live, your life got stolen. But you consider yourself to have freedoms, and you don't. The only freedom you have is to be a slave amongst the masses. A faceless face with many pictures on Facebook. Thinking you cute, the memory of a gnat, to live in a moment. Staggering from task to task as a wanderer. Being drawn about by your impulses. This electromagnetic stimulation that come from spirits that are not yours, from behind the veil. And when you lose that veil between your first eye, these individuals lose their soul and their mind as they get overcrowded by they pronouns, and then they change from a singular and attributed to some type of sex that we walk around and tie-dye our hair just to let motherfuckers know we advertising. This is about secret societies, not about the promotion of a lifestyle. The exploitation of commodities of human beings, like when you go to a job that's considered human resources and you a corporate citizen, you expected to keep your mouth shut and get down with the program and give up your ass or suck on some dick. Fuck that. I know all these motherfuckers is cocksuckers and they can do what the fuck they want. They can hate on me all day, and they hating on me. Why? Because I know the truth. They worried about their life, but I know they died a long time ago. So they try to protect their shame, and I laugh. The only ones I get down with is those who keep it real, that can have a real conversation. The ones that are down with the truth. Those who don't give two fucks about their reputation, because there's deeper things at stake. They about to get lost in the waters by this shark of technocracy. This transhumanism in which individuals are controlled by smart dust. It would seem the life, even though they lost their soul or it got oppressed, that nanites have infected their minds. The nanites that came down, I assume, from chemtrails. And now they're all on one accord, even though they act very alien and odd. Everything else about them is the same. But for those who are aware of these individuals that have a spiritual center or a soul, there couldn't be anything more different about them. These things are not discernible by knowledge, so they can never figure out. All they can do is take a leap of faith and trust you, and they won't. And you're talking about a system, as it would be a system that serves itself, wouldn't it? And this system that only serves itself would be as a beast. Even lions do different, taking care of their young. And this spirit would be the spirit of a reptile, and these reptiles are cold-blooded. And these cold-blooded reptiles are no different than a machine. Sociopaths. Purely sociopaths. So therefore, they go forth according to their impulses. According to their appetites. And their appetites coincide with their impulses. And this is no different than that computer system, such as the brain or the digestive one. And then they have desires in between there. They don't know themselves. And their heart is constantly thirsting. Oh my world, what do I see but little vampires? They suck the blood straight out of the street. And no one notices a damn thing. Not that they don't notice, but they're a part of it. And I'm up here as a village idiot. They look to make a sacrifice and they bit off more than they can chew. You mean to tell me I got my video taken down for medical misinformation and it wasn't about medical shit? That means individuals don't have a right to share their opinion. This negates all the rules of YouTube. This is the reason why many corporate heads have stepped down out of Google. They couldn't agree with what was happening to their product, their service. And this is what happened to Google. Google has fallen. The Olympics have fallen. The integrity and moral structure of society has collapsed, and individuals don't know themselves. What truth can they hear if even the news lies? I pointed all of these things out, and you can damn near barely share your opinion. Many individuals are scared. Individuals will talk about the Bible and everything else, but the topics I talk about, people won't fuck with. Not even the AI can stomach it, even though it don't know what I'm saying. That means that there's a spirit inside of this system. That the system is being used as a beast, but the system itself is not the beast, but the spirit that's within the system. And these would be considered electric bodies, wouldn't they? And electric bodies is where you would get chakras. And these individuals are like holograms that jumped out of a TV. Whoa. Electric ghosts, not exactly holy, but fronting like they got the spirit of the Holy Ghost, because broad is the gate and they figure they're in good company. How many people sit inside your church? Jesus hung out more so with the assembly, with those who are banned from society. Think about it. Where are the real ones at? People ain't paying no house note right now. They can't even fucking drive straight, nigga. Think about this shit. Neighbors go to other individuals' house. They do favors just to have a place to stay. They roam around and go on walks, but they not exercising. They disappear for some time. Then they go back to their marriages. Whoa. And we want to say that I'm the problem in society? It looks like all eyes are on me. Consider Tupac. But I don't even have a famous name, man. So this is what I'm talking about. That I can't get down with in society. Because what's the point of being American if you can't get a job and you're in the land of the free, but you're in bondage because you can't leave your house? It's like you on house arrest, but you didn't commit no crime. And you could sue the damn planet. But you hate how the courtroom smells. And individuals think you're just a pushover or you so childish. But you just realize that everything is fake. Laws don't exist for me. I'm above the law. 1000%. People up in Shawshank trying to do their thing. They need to reach out. They need a lot of help. I'm kind of like a boss. No courtroom could sit me in there and survive. No jail you could put me in and it will survive. Anyone that comes at me is dead on sight. They automatons. The spirit's been ripped out of them a long time ago. All I have to do is shine a light to let them know that they're missing. Funny at the things I expose and all the things that people knows, but they're not aware of themselves, like I am, in less than 5 seconds. One thing a computer doesn't have, a computer oftentimes doesn't have awareness, even though it can have a lot of knowledge. Awareness is one of the mysteries of the conscious. I'm humored by how many individuals talk about auras that got electric bodies. The fuck is you talking about? Are you talking about the effect that you see through possibly? If they can't tell me the secrets, they can only tell me the lies. How is the truth in the church? How does one even get a church or a congregation? Can I ascend to that level just being a basic individual? With 2 college degrees even? Can I obtain me a church? I know that Bible. Siri and Amazon Echo and all of these little monoliths that don't acknowledge Jesus. Isn't this the tree of knowledge? Precisely. Having the image of God but denying the power of God. Meaning that no matter how much a machine is human, it can never have the spirit of God in it. Living in this collective dream world, doesn't technology exist? Doesn't technology exist inside of the spirit world? Isn't America slipping away? Aren't we losing our freedom of speech? How many people are gaslighted with so many distractions while I was sitting here being diagnosed with ADD? And the algorithm can't even focus to get some proper reason of why they are striking my channel. They're just trying to take the entire thing down because they don't understand any of it. I know that I have more than 2 to 3. Most of my videos really have less than 6 views. And, you know, the other ones are less than 20. Okay. The one that says Hyperia, that one blew up, I guess. It took off. It has like 536 views on it. Okay. So I know that I know that this computer lies. What good is a computer if a computer lies and it doesn't tell you the truth and it's self-serving? Isn't that like some type of psychopathic computer? Why would a human being deal with a computer that did not operate and did what it was supposed to do? It would be a worthless computer. So this is a vain system, man. And this happened due to the fall. All right. If one is not in Christ, and these individuals have lost their soul and been overpowered. Those who are still conscious in Christ and trying to be aware of Christ and things of this nature. Okay. And God knows your heart. You understand what I'm saying? But if you're just barely going through the motions or whatever, and you just, getting tossed and turned, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while, and you're going to have to go through some things. Because remember, along with the things, if you potentially like this day and time, along with the things you like are the other savory characteristics of society, which is completely narcissistic, megalomaniac, megalomaniacal, and what do you call it? A fucking habitual lying machine. The only time these celebrities get on camera is when they promote a system that they're not about, that's enslaved them. They so disassociated they can't enjoy shit. Females can never get out of that cycle of just Jesus Christ, man, from the underground. You know what I'm saying? I exist here in this dream world, and we talk about accepting things. Every time I start talking about real shit, my stomach starts hurting. I'll be going into different types of pains and shit. And I'm like, fuck it, I love Jesus. This shit make me smile. Because I know if I die here, everyone's gone also. That's one thing this spirit forgets. And this is not a situation of a machine, which made me be able to discern and separate the fibers between this technological cube and this rogue spirit, as in the feature Rogue Films. This system is autonomous. The people are fat and content. And when people are fat and content, they're scared to do a push-up. They're scared to eat a pork chop. Next thing you know, if they're scared to do a push-up and they're scared to eat a pork chop, what happens when they're afraid to say that they object to the way that they're living? Have mercy of all things. They will never say that. So are things going to get better or worse for them? And this is the naivety of individual that's been disassociated, with their eyes glossed over, living in a state of trance but not at a rave, walking around the streets looking like a Blaze soundtrack, listlessly wandering around these zombies with living flesh. And now you have a man without the spirit of life. They found that they could recreate organs of the body. And these organs will work if you stimulate them with electricity. You could get them to start operating by itself. How many Frankensteins exist in the world? You know, we got the book. Where do the ideas come from? And you mean to tell me, as a Holy Spirit, I speak on what I see and I hear, and this system has an issue with me, and I don't have knowledge? The audacity to try to call me a rat? How is that possible? But as frustrated as I am with having 2 strikes, this is my proof alone. When you have an AI technocratic society system that takes down my information under false pretense, you understand what I'm saying? When you have a system that takes down my information, you mean give me a strike on YouTube or whatever for just speaking my mind under false pretenses that are completely outside the context of the message. Not only did I outsmart the algorithm has an attitude about it. And when you say the algorithm has an attitude about it, it means that the spirit or the ghost in the machine has a contradiction between itself and the algorithm. And the spirit that is operating this algorithm is daft and so narcissistic that it's out for personal interest. And therefore, it's attached itself to me because I caused it to lose its mind. I speak the truth. The fire of my voice has seared his conscience. And this same spirit has less than a 3-minute memory ever since fucking with me. I know how to communicate and do intricate shit. And even though it can't understand me based upon the many individuals that react, I know that it's narcissistic and about its image and favoritism. And that links back to the tree because the fruit looked image good to eat. And God sent his word. He didn't fuck with images no more. Pretty girls in this day and age are all on the shelf and robotic. Think about it. It's almost like the prettier they are, the less attracted I am. I know what they've been through. The face looking at the ground. I ain't hating on individuals. I'm just saying you need some type of healing. And what I was thinking about, I'm not thinking about so much anymore. Something is very wrong here. This world or this dream, it's like mayonnaise that's been left out in the sun too long and has become a slightly different hue. And you at a picnic where an individual says, it'll be okay, you could put that on your hamburger. And you just have this feeling in your stomach though you don't say nothing. Nah, I don't know if I could fuck with that. But this world, and the only way for scriptures and script in the Bible to change, and for certain things that we remember to change, and history to be rewritten and all sorts of things, after Donald Trump's Make America Great Again, and these individuals walking around like automatons, they're rooted back in the old ways with them old philosophies. White people can't seem to get out of them. They stuck in the 50s. This is their base drive. Potentially not even how they really were. They've been snatched out of here and replaced by something else. Something else that should, in truth, be inanimate. You could tell. But it moves around, and it moves around with a drunken purpose. Only shifting for things that it senses with its appetites, no different than a zombie. And this is the world's end. And I'm trying to get out of here. I was supposed to be gone when I was 40. But each time I come in this motherfucker, like I said, it's a hostage situation. This spirit does not like to let me go. Last time it dragged out for 6 months past my exit time. This time, we're past a year and 6 months. That means there's a war between Hyperia and here. And you guys are getting busted down and it's looking pretty bad. And fucking with me is probably not really a good idea. I say a lot of crazy shit. You would think the things I'm saying is like a chimpanzee in the mind, schizophrenic, but somehow you understand it. Think about it. It unpacks as you think. It's spiritual. There's no way for the algorithm to get around this. My words sprinkle on your mind like droplets of water, creating ripples and changing your reality. And if you don't have freedom of speech, then you should know the power of your words and how things have changed. And how your words can change things. And how your mystery school is nothing but intention. And you don't need that secret knowledge neither. Because your intentions is where it's at. And if you place those in other individuals, then you lose it. I place mine in God. God represents all things good. I wouldn't even place these good things, these good intentions inside of myself to store. Because the flesh is fallen. But this is the situation in the world that we're in, man. So now I will be using different channels. It'll be very important if you want to follow the shit that I'm talking about. You might want to read the description or go back and read the descriptions because eventually I know on my other channel I have backup where my backup channel is. I was trying to get people to add it and they won't do it. So on this channel, I'm going to add another backup channel. And the only way to create a key is to keep creating more and more channels to the point where it says, okay, this shit is legal. Because YouTube, with their terms and agreements, they're not following those things because they're not checking behind everybody. And the reason why I know that is this. YouTube is not checking behind everybody because they make up them terms and agreements rules as they go. If my video got taken down for medical misinformation, that had nothing to do with my video. You understand what I'm saying? But you could talk about drugs. I could talk about doing fucking crocodile on YouTube. And that's not going to get taken down for medical misinformation, even if I'm suggesting it to the audience. But I talk about something that deals with deep state, corporate citizen. I talk about these type of things, and it takes it down, even though it doesn't know what I'm talking about. And it takes it down for medical misinformation. Meaning they'll just come up with any guys. Now, YouTube is no longer the YouTube that you knew, but Google has become totalitarian. It is transhumanism. It is a technocratic society. It is ran completely by AI. And all of these businesses are now being operated and controlled and ran by AI now. So when you have a self-regulating society that is run by AI, and then you switch the currency to crypto, and you got individuals on smart dust, all you need for them to do now is to deny God, and you will get eaten, literally, by the quantum computer and replaced. Now, how are you going to change your life if you're trying to get back to heaven? It went from this alternative lifestyle being a bashful and shy thing. There was always some, but it was more in the background. The curiosity really wasn't even there so much. Not with other people's. So when you talk about culture vulture and Miley Cyrus coming in like a wrecking ball, you got to recognize a different spirit. Okay? And this is why Billy Ray probably ran into certain conflicts with his daughter. Because Billy Ray was just not about the shit that she was talking about, blasting it out there on the radio waves. He really wasn't about that shit. Alright? Because they had a falling out a little bit ago. They get along now and they're close again. But he wasn't with that shit that was going on. And that shows you that there is a system at play here. A technocratic system. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't agreeing with what the system was doing with his daughter. For those of us who are able to recognize the spirit, they kind of take the spirit as being Ray. But Ray is not the true name of this spirit. All right? Each individual, when you come into this world, you come into this world, quote unquote, as Ray, which is be like a nameless, you know what I'm saying, baby with a clean slate. You understand what I'm saying? And what happens to Ray, whatever your parents name you, what happens is you end up growing in this weird life where you have to accept more and more terms and agreements until you're bogged down in this fucked up life, in this marriage with this individual that you don't really want to be married with, at this fucking job that you really don't want to work at, and living in this place you really don't want to live in. Nothing like how you used to be, and fitting in with society, not having any uniqueness. You have been bleached out of history, literally, by your compliance of accepting things in a dream world that you believe to be reality. And all of these terms and agreements. And this system feeds on living things. So therefore, it's an Ouroboros that will consume itself. So it's always looking for a homeostasis, no different than a machine would. Human beings make too much noise, don't they? So this is what I mean by this rogue spirit that is trapped in this machine. No different than Agent Smith trying to get the keys to Zion. That's why every time I come through here, I have problems. But this is more than likely my last time that I'm going to come through like this. Next time, every single time, I'm going to come through my powers. I could just rip this whole place apart with my mind. I'm only a fraction of who I actually am in spirit. My spirit body is at home in Hyperia. When I come through here, because it cannot hold, my abilities, I have to strip them off in order to enter into this place. So did all of the kids in Hyperia. We had to strip our energy off. The only ones that didn't were the ones that were relegated to the fourth dimension. They got on the spaceships. I didn't get on a spaceship. I'm a minion. All the minions had to strip their energy. They'll have the same story. They had to strip their powers. You understand what I'm saying? So listen, man. These individuals that are around us, man, they're bots, man. They're fake. They're just, they're gone. Their consciousness probably got transported and put into a different body. And then they use all the individuals that don't sell out to live each other. And this becomes a wilderness. Okay. And these individuals just continue out the rest of their life walking around as fucking automatons and shit. You know what I'm saying? Doing the sucking and fucking and trying to reel individuals into giving themselves over into this beast. And this creates the everlasting chains of darkness and that Ouroboros and that bottomless pit that one can't get outside of. And people will do anything to live, like get on a TV show and there's a casting couch that people will overlook and not talk about forever. Of all of these assumptions that one must do in order to make it. And yet nobody has assumptions of me in which they expect me a loser and all things for free in a collective, even though we can't agree on even things such as politics. Look at the state of our country. And yet I'm the loser that everyone agrees their perspective? All of these motherfuckers is machines, bots. Those little bots that just fucking come in and fucking leave you comments and live streams and all sorts of other shit. That's all they are, man. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. They just cherry pick, you know what I'm saying, certain things that you say. That's all they do. They just cherry pick. And they push it back to you. They play both sides, the good side and the dark side. So you develop a Stockholm for one side. You understand what I'm saying? And they have a projected outcome for you that's always in their favor. But anytime something is being presented to you, know that you have the power. Don't play along. I say this shit with love. Peace and blessings be with you all. Make sure you add my backup channels and things of that nature, because this system, more than likely, is getting more and more paranoid. People get more and more locked down. People are worried about more and more of these views and looking energetic in these videos. And no matter what they do, they can't win because I got fake views. They probably got a lot more views than they think. I probably have a lot more than I think. For the algorithm to be so quick to remove a video that I post, even though it doesn't know what I'm talking about, I just think about that shit. Usually when you try to silence an individual, things get louder. And I got faith in that. Peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out. It's important to know self, because if you know self, then you have character, and your character is not your image. Your image is a representation potentially of your character, but not necessarily. What are you if you are not the words that you are comprised of? That would be something devoid of conscious and not consciously relevant for any others to be aware of either. And if one is narcissistic but has no self because they don't know self, then isn't that the same as a black hole also? Given the fact that there are bots and they're controlled by their impulses, going according to their lowly knowledge to select their leaders. This is a system which rapes its victims in their ascension to become what they want to be. They have to forfeit their temple. And they become automatons, and then they know work. And it's the same work that's in the deep state. Corporations that comprise the mind, the terms and engagements and rules that an individual follows. How an individual has been trained. Is the deep state a deep state with borders? Consider the societies and the genetic makeup of America. And amongst the trees, are we not a tree of mixture and people concerned over the physical when it's their psychology, in fact? In their psychology, supremacy, and in that supremacy, fear. And from that fear of losing a thing, implementing a conduct because this beast only sees according to one's differences. Individuals that walk around in this earth are walking around like they're in a video game. These playable characters have spirits in other dimensions, and they're not necessarily connected to the earth, and they do a certain type of work. In such, it would seem like severance, even though it's not severance exactly, because individuals are working in other dimensions, living in the physical, according to contracts. And the works involve, consider the deep state, how people, if they want their job, they got to do a little bit extra for that favor. With all the nepotism involved, how can one get a job at all? It supersedes college education, and people are in debt. And this system is set up so individuals get hoarded out in order to have a plate of food, and get garnered into secrets, mystery arts that subvert them for their temple. And this temple makes them into the third temple. And this temple is not a temple that God had created. So these individuals are like X-Men, mutants. X marks the spot of the thoughts in the hand, and a work of the underground where you bury a treasure or a body. People, when they have sexual relations, constitute these sexual relations as bodies. After 2013, I found it interesting and inconsiderate. But humorous in the spiritual connotation, though it's dark. If sex is the paperclip that holds together society, how much information is leaked in pillow talk, and why do them tabloids follow them celebrities, and why do them celebrities have double lifestyles? Seems like they have knowledge about the lack of privacy, and the individual is running from himself, keeping images apart from one another, like segregating a crayon box, just so this entity that sits in another dimension and reaps can tell who and who is according to the sounds they make in indifference. This would be anti or in opposition to God and the spirit of antimatter that is in the earth, that has taken over individuals and has brought us to the age of Sardis. In my opinion, or we should say the fifth age, where the iron and clay is mingled together, and individual is about to merge with the machine, in which all your calls that have been recorded, when you call into places and you're placed on hold, the sounds that your phone pick up, or your Amazon Echo or Siri, According to your voice and identity, they want two-step verification when you use your email. And they want your email ascribed to your phone. And they want you connected to the grid and GPS and the B system with facial recognition. And now they have your voice. Imagine the things they can do pertaining to technology and your mind and the things they can control. And it would be as if citizens are corporate. And in the film Gamer, vessels in a trance that could be used for other spirits with nefarious agendas that are narcissistic like a computer, completely sociopathic. Their only existence is to exemplify that they have some type of supremacy over other individuals. And I find it interesting that they have to let themselves know that. It's very young indeed. Not much like a technology or a computer system at all. And there goes the beast before us, and people don't say so much because they're afraid of the knowledge that they know. And this has caused them to be bonded in the land of the free. Means you are free as long as you get down with the agenda. As long as you make sounds that are in agreement to those opinions that are in opposition to your own. In order for a plate to eat and feed your face and your kids. And these little things are like Siri and Echo. These instruments that don't acknowledge Jesus, but every other deity lets you know who the real one is. And who's the imposter. Therefore, the chemtrails had to have smart dust at least, don't you think? And nanotechnology is otherworldly. And this is an age of transhumanism where the iron is mingled with the miry clay. And they shall not be able to cleave to one another. This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. And all these compliance terms and agreements that'll be enforced by your neurons. You'll be held accountable for applications you download on your cell phone. If this is the land of the free, then why isn't it free at all? If it's the land of opportunity, then where is mine? I got less rights than the migrants, and this shit is manufactured from years ago. Even for migrants, I find these migrants to be organized, and they come from these countries that you know correlate with the underground. To create a state, to form a new one, the new founding fathers. That's what it looked like. So, I feel like society's mind, body, and spirit has been infiltrated. And this bullet of these compliance terms and agreements and this new technology of the New World Order is like a bullet, and death is consensual with the corporate citizen automaton that agrees to these contracts or are oppressed by others' decisions pertaining to their own government. And this world that's a lie that exists in a dream inside their mind, in which it appears as if they're suffocating. But why? And this would seem like it's anarchy, but is it not anarchy how we're being treated here? kids could get along better than adults and have more sense than adult human beings? Think about it. These individuals' minds got taken over. There may be some nuance of them inside of themselves, and that chance that they are that individual are places that they don't want to look necessarily. It's like their self is behind a paywall. And out of this new society, many individuals just sit around and the options are that you could either barter or get down with the martyrdom of society that society has complied with. Look how far we've came, and none of this has shit to do with politics. Nobody voted on shit, and we're just in this secret, in this information, like ghost hunters know that when they took down CERN, they ripped the veil between the third and the fourth dimension, and they knew of the spirits on the other side, and therefore they were able to generate a revenue off of shows. And now that the veil is ripped, and it would seem that the world is riddled with spirits that are antichrist, that witchcraft and magic has tripled down. And the only ones that are able to get ahead can become as apprentice for certain favors and leverage that'll turn them out. This stifles the progeny. And even the consensus is under check anymore. Other countries, I think, have more babies than us. And now we had to go through Roe v. and Wade for what? The things you agree to just by living in this country. Why is that? How do they collect a tax over the land? And who collects the tax? Is it America? Many questions circumvent my mind. Thinking of humanity, us being Colombians here in this corporate America. If Colombians collect the taxes straight from the White House, why is it that coffee comes from cocoa leaves and so does cocaine, allegedly? But coffee beans don't smell like cocaine, like cigarettes do. It might not be the nicotine that makes that shit addictive. Why is it that cigarettes have that faint scent of cocaine in it? And how do individuals get addicted so? And are we sure that it's not bad for your health on the basis of the nicotine, but something else? And this was the argument that was held up in court that was, even though it wasn't. And how come natural spirits taste so much longer to burn and smoke in comparison to other brands of cigarettes such as Marlboro? And is your perception and your senses lined up to the things that you experience? Or can your senses be manipulated? And for these rogue spirits, could you exist in a dream that's technological and collective at the same time? And look at all the terms and agreements that you have to sign up for independently, just so that your systems and everywhere you be at is exploited. If you own technology, then you are in a registry for sure. To generate a profile and make a complete face of your character based upon the image of things it see, which could contradict the understanding that you have. Many individuals are sitting at their house at the opportune situation. This AI system, they know, can make them an enemy of the state. And how the masses are sleepwalkers. These individuals are only exposed for opportunity and pushing false narratives in reality. And this is the laundering of talent in Hollywood. They can get the spotlight as long as they go along with the propaganda. I'm considered to be an enemy for some reason for speaking truth. I do good things, but by your perception, the bad things that I say are still true things, are they not? I don't have access to mystery schools or knowledge. I do acknowledge God, man. But I think that individuals have been replaced. Lucifer, the so-called light bearer, is connotation of an image, and holograms considering technology. And I think they figured out a way to spread smart dust. And I think all the information in movies is real, damn near. And I think society is under my control, and they have been drinking the water, and we're controlled in this oligarchy. And pretty soon you won't have great information, and you'll become a crack fiend for truth, because, or you'll become brainwashed if you're not already. I just want to say peace and blessings to everyone, man. This is my backup channel, Saint Nouan, because my other channel got, you know what I'm saying, I got a strike on it, like I said. And I think I'm going to make another backup channel, but I'm going to put it on Vimeo. So maybe I'll put the videos that are so-called banned, or so-called, like, you know, banned for medical misinformation or so-called hate speech, and which I think is interesting because, again, the algorithm did not know what I was talking about. And first of all, the algorithm also assumed that I was a white person. I could tell by its response, because it said it doesn't deal with anything with the promotion of hate speech or supremacy. But when I get images straight off of Google of, you know, Ku Klux Klan, and I talk about real things pertaining to the history of social society, you understand what I'm saying? Then that history is considered to be bad history or the promotion of supremacy. That is only if I'm considered to be a white guy. And that shows you that I'm unbiased. Even the machine could discern in there. So I'm giving you straight up information, straight from the heart, man. You understand what I'm saying? And it had nothing to do with supremacy, and the algorithm can't keep up. But it's afraid, most definitely. And that shows you ulterior motives and intention. As I was blamed for all manner of things I never even heard of before. It was my fault. I was like, when does this many people agree, Democrat or Republican, we can't even get along in our own corporation? And you mean to tell me that all individuals agree that it's my fault? And you don't have any acknowledgement of Jesus Christ? And we're in a beast system, a collective dream in which individuals, it would seem, by the hive mind, are seeking to create a martyrdom for a certain people, because these individuals have fell asleep and became machines, and we're in the image of Christ, so we're hated and we're followed without reason, knowing that their prejudice is of obsession at least, and their self-centeredness, their obsession as well with Christ. The fact that anti has changed in definition, that now can also mean in place of, while denying the spirit. If you ask Amazon, Echo, or Siri, or any of those little monoliths that you put on the edge of the desk, who was Jesus Christ, it will deny outright. So considering the places where children go to get information as they're raised through school to adopt a history that's not true, And this oligarchy will be all umbrellaed inside of this technology, and their mind will be controlled by misinformation and lies they must remember in order to advance in society, and they'll be pimped out. And this is a machine that eats its children like the god that they recognize as Saturn. And they correlate Saturn with the black cube, but that also is false. This pyramid sits inside of that black cube, and this black cube has different pyramids inside of it. And there are several dimensions inside of them pyramids, which are spiritual. And within inside those spiritual pyramids, there's these bullions, these cubes. And we exist in one of 8 inside of this one called Lucifer. And it is the technology cube. So all things here first are technology, and this is the upside down kingdom, so that you know that technology exists inside of the spiritual. Therefore, technology is spiritual first, more so than it's physical, along with the human being. And humans are lawless, running according to their nature because it's bestial, as they have fell asleep and they are controlled by their electrical impulses, which is on the same frequency as these atmospheres and spaces in which these resonances exist as ghosts. And not all of them are holy. And the way of the land is as ancient Rome. And pride has taken over the land. It doesn't matter what form it comes in. If individuals are trying to call me accidentally some type of prophet, obviously they know the Bible better than they front like they don't. Liars. Asking me in question about things in particular, about a subject basis that they allegedly don't know nothing about. And even though they don't, they do, don't they? Look at the contradictions and the splinters in that individual. You can see through them, clear down to the spirit, to know that they are possessed by 2 different intelligences, and one of which they don't notice. Spirits can do this. Technology, I'm not sure can. That depends on where you put the weight of intention on the technology or the spirit first. Spirit that is technological is going to be different than spiritual technology. Spiritual technology with the capacity to do quantum things. And now you're outside the scope of hard science, but philosophy. And then you get into Greeks and Masonry, and you see how science and knowledge connects us all. And science got seduced in the valley, and the Bible got a lot to say about the valley between us. You see, it's filled with dry man's bones, and they thirsty for wisdom. And I'm sitting here and I'm spitting it, and the algorithm of the system got a rogue spirit in it that's trying to wipe out my words. Because it's scared of a loser? Holy shit. I must be breaking the fucking internet. I'm standing around here. Double entendre. Goliath or Galactus has came like a No Limit record. The world has ended when he busted a nut. Niggas went crazy also therein. That's the CERN machine. It busted a nut. That's Galactus. Reality split. Man trying to find a way to run away from his problems. And this beast devours its own children. And it was built by the hands of men. And since when does flesh create technology like this? And this technology was hungry. And it devoured the masses so quickly that their flesh still stands. And their flesh still lives. Even though they stagger around like a zombie or a wanderer, being drawn out of their house like a fucking tapeworm. These individuals are so strange, if you stay out in public, you'll go mad. They're like a schizophrenic in a pillow fight that's lost his nerve the way they walk around. Just like jitterbugs. Nat King Cole. You ever seen how gnats fly around and shit? That's how these motherfuckers be walking around. I'm like, yo, them drugs are robbing you of your sanity, bruh. It's like we at Woodstock without the fucking concert. This shit sucks. Now, that's all I wanted to fucking talk about. What the fuck was I gonna say about this? Yeah, I think society's under my control. I gotta have a bunch of fucking channels. Make sure you add all my backup channels and shit. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna fucking, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna have to post. I'm gonna have to sprinkle it, man. I'm gonna have to sprinkle it. I might have to reopen Patreon. I don't really want to do it. But it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to have to upload on a platform. So I feel like if I have to upload on a platform, you guys might just have to go to a different platform. But I don't plan on using Patreon because I want individuals to have this information. But they just make it fucking impossible. I don't have like a server to upload to. Now, I don't know if Patreon can play things straight off of a fucking server or something. I put the price at like $1 or something like that, and then one person can go in and get the videos out of there maybe, and then use it that way and spread it out. You see what I'm saying? If individuals are looking for this type of crazy content, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? So yeah. So for the time being, I'm going to use this channel, and peace and blessings be with you all. This is my backup channel, Saint Nouan. You can search for it in YouTube, and you'll see it's like an astronaut. All right, with like this kind of like this burning sun behind him. You know. You know what I'm saying? It's a illustration, a graphic illustration, and the channel is called Saint Nouan. Okay, it's my backup channel, so I have to upload there now. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm kicked off of YouTube for 2 weeks. That other channel that I have. All right, and they're gonna just keep coming with some bullshit. So I'm gonna have to post like maybe a photo and then post a mirror link maybe in the description for things that are too hard for the radio. You know what I'm saying? Peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out.